my wife.
Hey guys, so let's do a little after hours Vanishing Gates, a little extra content thing for with me and Jack because we have a little bit of time to kill. So we wanted to come and talk about some of our favorite horror video games and movies.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good, man.
What should we tackle first? Video games or movies?
Video games are my forte.
Your forte is video games. So what are your top 10? If you can break down that many, what are your favorite horror video games?
That's a good question.
What's your favorite genre of horror video games?
I think zombies are my favorite.
So like survival horror kind of stuff, like
one.
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like you want to talk about like the first Resident Evil?
You know,
Or is
people
there
are gonna
other
hate me for this. I've never played 1 through 3.
What?
I've never played 1 through 3.
We played the first.
Code Veronica, any of those? When I was younger, I played the Outbreak series, which I really liked. The Outbreak File 1 and 2.
I didn't play that, so my bad.
It was good. It was actually one of the first online I think it was the first online Resident Evil game. And you could play with 4 other people, and
What was that, PlayStation
your
2?
job was to survive. You had to solve puzzles and stuff together.
Was that PS2 or what?
Yeah, it's PS2.
Okay,
It's
PS2.
PS2. You had to solve puzzles together, and I had no idea what I was doing. So 90% of the time, I was just a horrible detriment to my entire team.
It's
It was
quite
just a
awesome.
horrible detriment to my team.
So guys who are just joining in chat, this is Vanishing Gates
Hi,
After Hours, where we're going to talk about horror movie video games or horror video games and horror movies.
If we talked about horror movie video games, we'd be making fun of Uwe Ball this whole time.
Who?
What's Uwe Ball? Uwe Ball?
What's that?
He is a director who did things like
Oh,
Alone in the
U-Boll.
Dark,
U-Boll.
U-Boll. Did you know that he once...
How
Hold
did
on.
you say his name?
Before we get back into the video game, Uwe Ball, Uwe Ball,
It's U-Boll.
U-Ball. He had people who criticized his movies because they were so bad, and he said to them, all right, well, I will face you in a ring. And he got these online critics to go to a boxing ring.
And he beat the crap out of him,
And
didn't
he beat the crap out of
he?
each
You
of
know
them.
why?
Because he's a boxer.
He is not a small weak
No,
man, U-Boll. No,
he's
can actually
trained.
throw it down.
He is trained to fight. He knows how to fight. I think he actually was a boxer at one
Yes,
point. Like
he
he
was-
did boxing.
I think he did MMA.
And they
Might
got
have been
in there with him, and he just tore him to pieces. And it was the most hilarious thing I've ever
Let's
seen.
see, a trained fighter versus some gamers that don't like his movies and video games. I mean, I don't know who's gonna win that fight. My money's on the trained fighter.
Yeah, all my money was there. All
What-
my money was on that one.
So, tell me about this Resident Evil game you played online. 'Cause I don't think I played
Okay,
it. That's PS2.
It's Outbreak. It takes part in the first one takes part in Raccoon City. The second one takes part in I think it's still Raccoon, but I'm not sure. And essentially, you play as 4 characters, which I can't remember any of them. It's been so long. And I think
What era was
I
this?
think there's more.
What years these were?
Back 2007, 2008.
So like a decade ago.
Yeah, like a
approximately.
decade ago, roughly.
Okay.
It was a while ago, but it was PS2, so it was a while ago. And it was a fun game. I would rank that probably like 7th.
Did you?
8th and 7th.
Okay. Did you play Left 4 Dead?
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
You didn't like Left 4 Dead?
I thought it was okay, but I never got to play it
Man,
online.
I binged on those 2 stupid games.
But I
'cause played
never
online,
got
though.
to play
The
online.
Xbox, the 360.
So you could probably tell why I didn't prefer it because I just
Yeah, it was definitely more of a co-op game.
You need
It was
two
set up like
members.
actually we're Resident horror movie video games. That's a horror movie video game. Crap, because it was basically the whole setup was you're in a movie.
yeah, it was a game
You're
about
playing
movie
a
thing.
scripted movie basically that isn't scripted.
Yeah.
It was really strange. Really cool setup. Really interesting idea. So you like the zombie games because you like to shoot things, right?
Oh yeah.
But you like third person.
I don't have a preference to either.
Okay, so I think it was Resident Evil, whichever one where he's in Africa was the one that killed
5.
third person for me.
Really? I preferred
killed
5.
him.
I
like
like
the
5.
camera angles. Just you get caught up in camera angles.
You can move the camera around.
I know, but that was the better one of the Resident Evil series. I thought
Yeah.
that I haven't played the new one.
Actually,
have
the
it, but I
best
haven't
in the
played it.
Resident Evil series for me.
Outbreak, is that what it is? The new one?
No. The newest one, the most recent one was
Outbreak's what we're
Biohazard.
talking about. Biohazard. Okay, so Resident Evil 7.
I
is
played
what
that for
we're
like
talking
5 minutes and I was like, I don't
about. Well,
like
it's
this.
first person. You're not gonna like it that
I was
much.
just meh. Actually, that didn't bother me. It was just I didn't like the scenery. It didn't feel like a zombie game. It didn't feel like Resident Evil, and I just wasn't able to get into it.
Really?
Yeah, it just didn't feel like.
I mean,
it.
yeah. I didn't
It
think
looked
it was
great.
fun
Like, don't
either.
get me wrong, the graphics were great. The game, like, I went online later and I watched some of the videos. Okay, I lied. I watched the videos first, so I didn't play it because I already knew what was going to happen.
You spoil alerted yourself.
Yeah, I spoiled myself. Like,
You're
I
a
spoiled
bad
the
man.
game completely for
You're
myself.
a bad man.
That might be why I didn't like it very much.
Actually,
because I was
I'm
like,
not gonna lie though. I
happen.
did that with Five Nights at Freddy's. I was gonna play it. And
I have to this day never played Five Nights at Freddy's.
Why would you? You can just watch the videos on YouTube and know exactly what's gonna happen every
I've read
time.
some great creepypastas about that though.
There's creepypastas about Five Nights at Freddy's.
Some good ones.
There's that one about Zelda too. Was it the cursed Zelda game was a creepypasta?
There's a Pokemon one, and
the Pokemon was like Lavender Town would make you have seizures or make you suicidal or something.
Apparently, some people died.
The music was really mopey, and I don't remember that though from Lavender when I played Pokemon back in the day. It was way back in the day.
It was a modded cartridge. Supposedly, it was like a hacked version of it that people would play, and it killed a couple people. According to
so, guys in chat again, if you're just joining us, we're just doing an after hours thing. Just a little extra for you guys that are still hanging around and bored. We're talking about horror video games and horror movies. We're going to start with the video game thing clearly, and then we're going to transition into horror movies because we have time to.
There's way more on that one. So, no, I mean, number one, my number one horror video game was The Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
Last of Us. If you have a PlayStation 4, and I think they might have moved it over to Xbox now. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
If you can get your hands on it and play it, it's this. Okay, so it's not open world like we're used to nowadays. A lot of open world, a lot more spaces to
It's
run
not that
around
old though. It's pretty.
No,
recent.
it's recent. It's recent.
It's pretty recent.
But it's not open world, and it's linear. You know, you follow a set path.
Isn't that the one with the guy and the girl? And
Yeah.
The zombies aren't really the bad guys, but they're there. But it's really the people that are the bad guys.
Yeah, and the zombies act like
they're kind of like a catalyst.
It's the one that they use. What's it? I can't remember what the term is. It's the one that uses like the spores that go down and they create flowers.
Yeah. We talked about that with our zombie episode about the ants that would be. Yeah, they'd spore and they become.
So essentially, it's the zombies aren't actually they're part of the story, but
they're not the biggest part of the story.
If you play that game, anyone I've ever heard play that game is the same. Like for me, it was a freaking experience. I couldn't put it down. Like I played it for days, just unable to
Isn't that the one with like the most terrible ending ever? Actually, like the most sad, heartbreaking ending or something.
I liked the ending. It was an interesting ending because...
Well, I'm sure there's multiple endings at this point. I want to say most games, like Biohazard, or Bioshock, has a ton of endings.
I'm not...
The Bioshock series, they have endings. They have endings galore. I tried to actually, when I played them, and I love Bioshock. It's not really a horror game, but it's a sci-fi, so it kind of matches in. I tried to get every ending.
It's still technically a horror game.
Okay, so like Metro, the Last Light. Yeah. There's two possible endings, and the good ending is almost impossible to get. And actually, the next game of Metro that's coming out next year is supposed to be the follow-up of the good ending.
So no one's gonna know what happened.
No, I'm trudging through it. I'm gonna start doing the game on Mixer, which is the Xbox broad stream.
Yeah, we
live stream. And I'm gonna try to go. And what you have to do on the second Metro Last Light is you have to go through and not kill a single human. You have to make all the good choices and not kill a person the entire game. You can kill the mutants, but you can't kill the people. And did you play Metro Last Light or Metro at all? Oh man, you're missing out.
I think I might try. I might jump on the.
Did you ever play Shadow of Chernobyl?
I never got to.
Because that's an older game, but I always wanted to play. I never played it, but I wanted to.
I never got to. I think it was like an open world game, wasn't it?
I think it was semi, but like again, I never played it. This is over 10 years old.
Okay, so
way more than 10 years old by now.
So about The Last of Us, like I said, is if you can get your hands on a copy, play it. It's the story. The story is all there is. Like the gameplay is good, but that story is probably one of the greatest stories I've ever freaking seen. Like even
it's a story-based game.
Book. Yeah, it's the story is so. It's so interesting. You never really notice the zombies because you're so ingrained into what's happening in the game.
They're more like a casual. Oh, I came across the zombies.
So like most games, they don't build up like stories, but the story is about Joel and Elliot, and so throughout the story, unlike most games where they're just like, oh, all of a sudden they're best friends. So it builds this story between these two through the entire their travels. It builds a story between them. It lets you it makes you see them as a father-daughter couple, which they're not. Not a couple, a father-daughter unit.
That one.
Whatever.
Okay, no, don't do that either. Just...
Anyways, so it like actually builds. Like you get really attached to these characters, and it's really interesting. Like just how the game starts off is shocking as all hell. Like
Really?
You wouldn't see it happening. Like you didn't see some of it coming, and it's one of those things that immediately jerks you. Just like it grabs you immediately. Stop it.
No, I didn't say anything.
It immediately starts pulling on your emotions. Like it does. And it's a very emotional game. And you're so attached to these characters by the end of it that the ending isn't actually bad because you're like, okay, that's great.
I don't know. I had a spoiler alert from, I think it was Game Informer that told me the end of that. No, it was a YouTube channel I was watching. Endings that were sucky.
Yeah, I don't think the ending was sucky, to be honest.
It just seems like a lot of work for an ending that wasn't very good. Okay, so
I will say that the ending kind of did not play into what it should have. Like,
I'm not a guy who I don't like movies and video games that end on a negative note because life is so negative in general.
It didn't.
The one I read, maybe there's multiple endings.
If you listen to what they were saying, they may not like it because they didn't like what the choices that were made for the ending, what they decided to do, and how they thought it ended. But if they were actual fans of the game and played it properly and weren't just a factory for video games, because they have to do like 6 different video games in a row, so they don't play these video games. When you read these magazines, they're playing the video game to get through it.
I don't think it was from Game Informer because they're usually good about spoilers. I think it was actually like a YouTube video I watched.
Well, people who do like reviews of these things, they play the video game to get through the video game. They don't play it to experience the video game. They play it to finish it. And so essentially they don't enjoy the ride. They just, they throw their hands up. And in this game, if you don't play to play the game and experience it, then you're never going to get anything good out of this because the gameplay isn't good enough to hold it up. I will say that right now. It's fun and easy gameplay, but it's not going to hold it up on its own. And are you having a problem with your matches?
I got 2 matches left. I am almost Corbin Dallas.
Don't breathe.
No, they just the striker plate on the stupid match. Continue.
Anyway, so that is the primary reason why it's my number 1 favorite game. It's highly emotional.
Number 1 favorite?
It's my number 1 favorite.
Of all time ever.
It's my favorite game of all time.
Really?
It's my favorite game of all time. It's just because it's a game that actually, like, I don't know, it's a once in a lifetime game. It's a one-off hit. You're never gonna get a game like this again. I can promise you that. You're never gonna get a game. Sequel. No, the sequel is never going to be that good. They're making one, but it's not going to be this good.
Okay.
Because games don't focus on story anymore. They focus on gameplay. They focus on.
Okay, so that's what I loved about the Metro series. It's a very story-based game. The gameplay is awesome. It really is awesome gameplay, and there's a lot of stealth in it. I'm really getting into the stealth thing, man, and like
I could never do
it feeds into. Well, I like the patience of it.
Okay,
but so I'm that guy who played 200 games of chess against a guy who could beat me every time until I figured out how he's beating me.
So. This is what happens to me every time I play a game where you have to sneak around. Okay, I'm behind the box. I'm gonna shoot that guy. Didn't notice the dude standing off about like 2 feet away from him. You've been caught. Ah, crap! Pull out all of the biggest guns I have and just start shooting everybody. That's what happens to me every time.
Well, I don't know, man. I like the stealth games. I like to do like melee kills and stuff.
That's actually why I didn't like the Dishonored series, is because you had to be so stealthy.
Was that a horror game? It was more sci-fi. Right?
Yeah, it was more sci-fi.
I didn't play that one.
It's more worried sci-fi.
I probably should.
The first one was okay. I thought it was so. The second one.
So you like the Last of Us? What's another really good one that you can suggest to people? That's
Resident Evil 4.
Modern.
Resident Evil 4.
More modern.
Oh, more modern. Come back.
Which one was Resident Evil 4 about? There was like 25 Resident Evil.
They were in a I can't remember what the town is, but it was a town south, or it was a South American
city.
No, it was a South American place. Can't remember what it was called. But you're Leon Kennedy, and you're essentially trying to find the president's daughter.
No, that was the one that I was talking about with the Africa thing, with the guys
with
their heads split open, the things that came out. I thought it was in Africa.
That's number 4. That's.
No, I thought they were like Lithuania or something, or Africa. Because the guy, there was like the Napoleon guy was the end game guy.
Yeah, that was 4.
Oh, that was 4. Okay, that one I liked.
5 is in Africa.
That one I like. 5 is in. Okay, so I didn't play 5. I played 4.
Okay,
whatever. But 5 had the same thing, right? With the same virus strain they were talking about.
Kind of. It was a little more off the Resident Evil beaten path. It was still just enough where I was like, okay, I like this, because it, in its own, 5 was great, but compared to 4, which 4 kind of split off, but it's still focused. It was really good. It was great gameplay. It was fun. Story was good. When you go to 5, the story just seems really all over the place. Like you're trying to find somebody, and then all of a sudden you're trying to find someone else, and then you're confused as to why the hell where you're at, because they have like, it's not a place where they can't get access. It's a place where there is technology, but they're not just flying into the location they need to be.
So I was playing Outlast. And okay, so I have a big issue with a game where they don't arm you with anything.
Oh yeah, I couldn't play that one.
Again, I like the stealth part of it, but I like to be able to fight back. I'm not one of those guys who just wants to get killed.
Yeah, I'm
If
not
you
good
try
at
to
stealth.
kill me, I do the Mal Reynolds thing. I kill you right back.
I can't do stealth like at all because I'm just terrible at it. I get too
And
nervous and
you're taking
like
pictures of things that don't make a lot of sense either. It's
I want to like
insane asylum and stuff, and
it makes sense when you think that he's a reporter and he's trying to report on what's happening in this asylum.
I get it, but I mean, you should be able to find a weapon.
I'm still trying to figure out why he was there though.
To figure out what was going wrong in the asylum. He's a reporter.
I like.
Hey, James in chat. So,
Hey, James.
I don't know, man. There's the other one. Okay, so someone suggested to me that the best game they ever played was Layers of Fear.
Oh my God!
It's a point-and-click game.
Watch Angry Joe, and he has the funniest moment. There's a scene where the baby runs down the hallway, screaming,
I didn't get that.
Smacks into a wall, falls backwards, and they just sat there and watched it. They kept making it happen because it was like a montage of them just like running, and it would do it exactly the same. And it was freaking hilarious.
I guess I'm gonna have to play that game again.
It was just hilarious.
I got so bored with it though.
It was
walk
boring.
around, click and look. How is this the greatest game you've ever played, guy?
People still like Mist, okay?
I don't even. Is that a horror game?
No, it's
then
a
let's not
point and click something. I'm not sure what Mist was.
There was an old Nintendo game that was point and click that was
Oh,
actually
yeah.
kind of interesting, and you'd have to solve a bunch of puzzles.
Yeah,
There's
that
a
would
whole
be
series of like mystery.
that
style
was
games.
The Shadow or
I don't remember what it was
he
called.
was a detective.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And
I know what it is.
He wakes up in like a weird place, and he's gonna figure this stuff out.
Yeah, he's like attached to a chair.
Our
and he's
uncle used to play it a lot. It was convoluted and strange, but
That's why I never got through
click.
Dick Tracy. I could never get through it. So I can't stand point and click.
I just want to watch, and now Apple
Hey there.
has them. So I mean, you know, hey, chat family. So Resident Evil, that game. I mean,
you know what was great about Resident Evil was the
that
books.
series.
The books were great. I like the books.
I'm not one of those gamers who goes and reads the books.
The books are based off the game, so the books didn't come first.
That's fine.
The
I
books are
get
good.
that, but I
You get
tried to
more
read
story
the
that way.
Mortal Kombat book that came out.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. Because I was young and I needed the money.
Is it just a button click mashing in the book, just like left, right, A, X, B, whatever?
I mean, probably.
That's all the book was just a bunch of symbols.
Do you remember the Friday the 13th game for the Nintendo?
Oh yeah, I hated that game.
I have it on an emulator on my phone.
I hated that game.
I love that game.
The new one's supposed to
You
be good,
can't
though.
win. Oh no! If you watch the playthrough of the new Friday the 13th, any game where you can be a guy named Jason and just go and smash people to death, I'm down for.
It's good.
Good way to get rid of some of my built-up rage.
Oh, it was good. Like I watched some videos of it. I haven't got it yet because they're way better games on play.
I mean, it's one of those games where you're gonna have exactly 3 other people to play with, and like they gotta be dedicated to hurting each other. It's all about trash talk. Wasn't that like an indie game though? Didn't like that go through like a Kickstarter or something?
Yeah,
there a story behind
it was a
that?
Kickstarter game, and I think it broke records. Like the first couple weeks, they had to redo their
And it took them a
their
long time to
servers.
get it done too,
because their
right?
servers kept
Yeah,
crashing hard.
because it was an indie game. They didn't have the backing that most.
Well, they didn't think it
larger
was going to
games
be as
have,
big
right?
as it was, and then
people
people
were just jumping on.
enjoyed it, and they just started getting the game.
Gotcha.
And so now it's I think it's okay. They're going to add some things hopefully because I mean by now people got to be getting bored.
I mean,
You can
I don't
only
know.
you
You
can
know, okay, so Kane Hodder actually did the graphics for that. He was the model they used. He actually put on the
Well,
suit.
because Kane Hodder is Jason. Like all the other
He is-
Jasons suck.
He is the Jason that most people remember. Yes.
I still love spoiler alert that Jason Voorhees is considered to be the first killer. Did you know there were during the first so the first movie there was a legitimate explanation for everything that happens in the movie up until the last scene.
When it was a dream though. He drags her out of the boat.
Yeah, that's how it's explained, but people think
But
it was a
it was a
legitimate scene because I'm just sitting there. Yeah, she's not dead. Why would you think that?
Because he kills her in the second movie to revenge his mom.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying is
Okay, I don't think we can give spoiler alerts for a movie that was made in the 70s anymore.
yeah.
I think we're okay on talking about the original. So we're going to transition into
No,
movies now?
let's finish games real quick. But I'd say Resident Evil 4 is my second favorite. God, I don't play much horror. 3, I like there was a game I think it was called Disturbed or something like that. It was like he was a dude in an insane asylum and he's like having nightmares chasing him, stuff like that. And then
Is this a Resident Evil game?
no, I can't remember what it's called anymore.
I don't
And then like
I know what it is. I didn't play it. I can't remember what it's called. Condemned or something?
Yeah,
Or-
Condemned. That was it.
Yeah,
Criminal
he's-
Origins.
Isn't there like a bear that attacks him at some point in that game or something like?
I cannot remember. It's been so long.
I don't know. I didn't play it.
That was a long time ago. They were okay. Gosh, I have no idea. I would have to say. I guess I'd have to move those Outbreak movies or games up because I don't play a lot of horror. I don't
It's
like
killing me.
horror games.
You gotta play more horror games. You love Resident Evil. You gotta play more horror games. So guys that are just joining us, we're doing our After Hours Vanishing Gates. Our show is now on our earlier show, our regular show is on the YouTube channel. This will be up there too.
Check it out and go there.
But we're just doing a little After Hours thing, a little extra content. We have some time to kill, so we wanted to give you guys our little rundown on horror video games and horror movies.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any comments or suggestions for games or movies or any comments about them, put them in the chat. We'd love to see what you guys have to think about it. Yeah. And we'll see about half of them probably because they squelch most of them. But so I'm playing Prey. I've been working with Prey a little bit, playing that, and it's not so far it's not terrible, but it's more of a sci-fi game than a horror game, really.
You know, everything I've read about it was that it wasn't fun.
It's kind of fun, but I like to grind though. I appreciate the grind of the game. I like to go through and explore and try to break the game a little bit and try to find places to get off the map and glitches and crap. So I really like the first person aspect of it. It's always been a thing that I've enjoyed as first person because I like to be like right there because my reflexes work that way. I don't have to worry about the cameras being all funny and behind me in weird ways and throwing me off. I don't have to look through a wall to see my character. You know, it just irritates me for some reason.
No, I get that. I'm just saying that it's okay. So my problem I have with horror games predominantly is that they don't do them well.
Well, some of them are really good.
Okay, so the problem with a horror game is it's the same problem I have with video games nowadays. And I did like Slenderman.
It's not really a game.
It's not really a game. It's mostly.
It's more of an
it feels like point and
in
click.
chat, by the way, guys. We're answering in chat for those of you who are going to see this later. The Slenderman game is more like you hold your phone and you go like this.
Yeah.
And you just try to collect notes until he attacks you.
Yeah.
Speaking of Slenderman, you remember Marble Hornets?
Oh yeah, I used to watch that series.
How far did you get in that series? It's like 97,000 videos long.
I got like 100.
Okay, so if you guys don't know, let's transition.
I might have gone to like 70.
Let's transition into like the horror movies and shows.
Well, I mean, I wanted to.
I
was finishing my statement
because I want to talk about Marble Hornets.
The problem I have with horror games is that they do the same problem I have with horror movies nowadays is they don't do it right. And what I mean by they don't do it right is most of these movies and games are jump scare movies. They don't build tension. You just
startle.
Boo! There they are. That doesn't keep you afraid for long. It's like, oh, I'm startled, but now I'm not.
These matches are going to be the end of me, dude. I'm telling you.
Greatest matches. Try a different box.
This is a different box.
Anyways, so that's one of the problems I have with horror movies and stuff like that is there's no built-up tension. I mean, really, that's one of the reasons I like slasher movies. Like even Friday the 13th. One of the reasons I didn't like it is because, like the first one, for instance, you have no idea who the killer is. And you can't do the who is it game.
Okay, if you don't know who the killer is by now,
well, yeah, you
decades
should know.
later.
But no, I mean, when you first watched it, there's no hint to who the killer is because the killer doesn't literally show up in the movie till the last 20 minutes. That's the first time you see the killer is 20 minutes till the end. There's no build-up. There's no mystery. It's just, first you think it's this guy. Can't be him. Oh, maybe it's the camp counselor, but he's always seen out of town.
They don't really give you any reason to think it's any of them, though. They kind of lead it just to some outside source, and you think it's going to be Jason because he was killed.
You know, as for Silent Hill, my thoughts on those ones, I've actually never played Silent Hill.
That's the second time it's come up tonight.
The reason I don't like Silent Hill, and the reason I don't say it's a bad game, and I won't say it's a bad game because I've never played it. But the reason I don't play it is because just like the Alan Wake series, I think it is, I don't
being attacked by legs.
I don't like psychological horrors. I don't prefer the mind bending things where you're like alternate realities. Because the thing is about that is
I don't know, dude. There was just something about that radio static coming in that would just freak you out a little bit because you knew something bad was around.
Oh yeah.
And now, for those of you who don't know, we'll tie this into something not movie or game wise. Silent Hill, the game, the setting for Silent Hill was actually based on Centralia in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but we'll do that in a different one because
we're going to do a Centralia.
Yeah, one of the guys watches knows about it. Right?
Yeah, one of our friends that watch, he is actually in Pennsylvania, and we have a guy, a friend of mine locally, who actually lived right by Centralia, in an area where he can just go there in his car and check it out. So he's going to come on the show one of these days and actually talk about Centralia. But the idea of Centralia is what Silent Hill was kind of based on, the ash and the cloud and the fog.
I get you. But no, I mean, I'm not insulting psychological horror games or anything. Like psychological. It's my preference. Here's the problem is I like to be able to solve the problem. Like I need to understand what's going on. And Silent Hill is really freaking deep. Like, hold on. The thing is people have done like hour-long videos, like several hour-long videos. Like there's videos you can find on YouTube trying to break down the story. And the thing is, it's so in depth. It's just too hard for me to put together.
Okay, so the first Silent Hill was basically the guy was a very bad person.
Yeah. Well, the story is essentially the story behind Silent Hill.
Spoilers for a 20-year-old game. I'm sorry for you.
The story behind Silent Hill, what I finally got, because I finally understood what was happening here, essentially was it's purgatory. This is where you're getting punished. It's essentially people think they committed
first
crimes.
game, it was, and he actually was a very bad person.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the second game.
That's the
second game, right?
I think it was the second with him.
Whichever one had Pyramid Head was, I think, the second game. So that was a guy that was a bad guy. I don't remember the first one that well.
I don't remember
either. Something ended up there.
Actually, I don't think it's the first one. I think there was one on SNES long before those ones, if I remember correctly.
I don't think there was a Silent Hill on Super Nintendo.
I think there was.
If there was, I wasn't going to play it.
Maybe there was a Resident Evil.
By then, PlayStation had been out, and the graphics were much better.
So the thing is that basically it's essentially the idea that they want to. Yeah. Oh, right.
You're there at the first clock tower. They had an SNES,
right.
Super Nintendo version of that was just.
It was terrible.
Not quite up to snuff.
Actually, it was a Nintendo. I think it was.
No, it was Super Nintendo. It was still point and click, but it was Super Nintendo.
Okay. But no, I mean, the thing about that's my problem with like psychological horrors is I don't feel like I'm in control of the situation. Like that's why I like.
It's kind of the point.
Well, I know I don't like to be taken out of that. I'm a control freak in my own life. If I can't take in my own life, I get kind of flustered if I can't take control of a situation. So in my video games where I'm just trying to relax and have fun, if I have to be taken out of my comfort zone, I get upset and annoyed, and I throw my controller because I get angry. So I'm like, why did that happen? I would never do that. And it's that's how it always happens in these psychological horrors. I always get annoyed because I'm like, I don't know why anyone would make that decision. Like you wind up just shouting at the screen like, "Don't do that."
When they pigeonhole your character into a specific thing that you know is going to end badly, you're like, well, that's not how I would do that in real life. I can see what you're saying. So
yeah, it annoys me. I don't want to.
That's why I don't like the point clicks. That's why I don't like point clicks. That's why I don't like. It's kind of like it's just pointless.
Well, they're just slow. They're really slow, and you miss things a lot. And it's just really boring.
Did you play Dead Space at all?
I have never played Dead Space.
Dead Space is kind of good. It's kind of good. It's not really my cup of tea, but it's interesting. I like the idea if I'm in space killing aliens, I'm blasting them away with a giant weapon. I'm more of a Doom guy from back in the day. I want to be able to kill my enemies in violent fashion with a chainsaw. I'm just saying, there's something wonderfully brutal about taking a demon's head off with a chainsaw.
I mean, you can play Doom.
It's Doom, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The new Doom, right?
I haven't played the new Doom. I don't know. That seems too much like
I heard
Unreal Tournament.
There was a joke about that one that I saw the other day, which is it's all about gameplay. No one needs a story. I guess that's how bad the story was. But then again, Bethesda's kind of gone downhill.
I played one of the more recent Wolfensteins.
Oh yeah, I played
that was
the last one, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I played it for like an hour and a half, and I was streaming it on Mixer. I'm just like, not so much.
I liked it.
I think I was just really drunk and it was really late, and I just got bored with it because I mean, killing Nazis is fun, but it only goes so far.
Yeah,
it only goes so far. So what about horror movies? What's your favorite horror movie?
Oh,
how about what's a horror movie that actually gave you nightmares?
Rose Red.
Rose Red was a miniseries, not a horror movie.
I'm still counting it because it was on DVD when I watched it.
It doesn't count.
It's still.
We can talk about horror movies too. Well, let's talk about Marble Hornets a little bit because we touched on the Slender Man thing.
Oh.
And Marble Hornets is kind of up our alley because it was a YouTube series that these college students made documenting this situation, and it was really creepy. So if you guys get a second, go check out the Marble Hornets thing on YouTube.
Yeah,
there's like 100 million episodes.
You lose interest after a few though. Like you'll lose interest if you're not like a completionist.
A minute or 2 minute long episodes, and it goes on forever. And I didn't finish it because I didn't have time. What they need to do is put it on a DVD and put it all together.
Yeah, they need to smash it together.
And it's like a miniseries.
It was good though. Like at the beginning, it's really good. But if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of patience for like filler.
I don't know. Did they ever end it? Did they ever finish that?
I have no idea.
Climax? Because it seemed like it was going on and on and on and on and on and on.
I think I made it to like 70.
I think it was 90% film with a GoPro. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like a couple of college students that got together and made this. It was really cool.
Movies that gave me movies that gave me nightmares.
Yeah.
Aliens.
One of the greatest movies ever made by man.
Ever made by humans. Nightmares.
So, Hans-Ruedi Giger, H.R. Giger, in case you guys were wondering what HR stood for, it's Hans-Ruedi. The painter of nightmares, and there's a really cool documentary about his life right before he passed away on Netflix that I suggest watching. I can't remember what it's called, but it goes into like his story, and by the time you get to him, he's very, very affected by whatever is ailing him because he wasn't a young man. And you see his art, and there's actually Giger bars. I don't want to say Sweden is where he's from. I could be wrong.
No idea.
Could be Denmark. It's one of those Norse Northern European areas. And his art was creepy as all get out, and that's where they got the. Actually, he did set work for The Thing too, which is possibly one of my all-time favorite sci-fi horror.
Actually,
movies.
if people want to know an interesting fun fact, and the reason that Aliens 3 bombed so hard was because if you look in it, there's literally one thing that H.R. Giger did in that movie.
Well, by then he had already given the rights for them to use
Oh yeah,
his art.
but they
they
contacted him for like half a second and then never contacted him again. They got one piece of art from him and then he never contacted them again. He did no work on that. In fact,
Really?
there's a reason there's no director's cut. It's called the editor's cut. Is because the studio wanted to pump it out now. They wanted to start pumping out Alien movies, and so they essentially got rid of Giger because his ideas were too expensive.
You're not talking about H.R. Giger. You're talking about Ridley Scott.
I think it was
the director.
both. I think
You're talking about Ridley Scott, the director.
Oh, was it? No, because H.R. Giger was also
he was the artist that designed the xenomorphs.
He wasn't in. They didn't take anything from him in this one because
they used the xenomorphs.
He was but he was going to design some newer ones, stuff like that. Oh, they only took one, and they didn't run with anything else that he wanted to do.
I want to say he actually did some of the work for Species as well, because you can definitely see some Giger-esque things in Species.
Either way, they didn't want. I don't think they had Ridley Scott for number 3. I'm not sure, but the studio basically had editors.
I don't think 3 bombed. I think 4 bombed pretty bad. Resurrection.
Well, after 3 was
actually, I'm gonna get some hate for this. I actually enjoyed Alien Resurrection.
Oh God.
I know.
Oh my God. That brings me to the famous scene. The scene where Ripley throws the ball over her head and makes it, and that Hail Mary kind of thing, and makes it behind her head on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
That's real. That was one shot, and I almost said it.
Oh, good catch.
She actually she steps away, and she I can't remember what's her name.
Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver actually threw the ball over her head and made it in one, and did a perfect shot.
Are you sure?
Yeah, the whole shot was done luckily perfectly, but she made that shot. She actually made that shot. It's supposed to be like people talk about it. They're like,
do you remember the posters for Alien 3? Actually, you probably don't. You're kind of young. You're a bit younger than me. The movie posters for Alien 3 had a picture of Ripley with her head bald. The bitch is back. Was the tagline for that movie.
I hate the fact that they even killed her in the first place. It was so stupid.
Spoilers.
Spoiler alert!
Some
after 20 years,
Alien 3 it hasn't been 20. No, actually, dang it.
Yeah,
a
little longer, I think.
Yeah, no, it's been at least 20 years. So Aliens, probably the best sci-fi movie ever made. The sequel, the second.
Oh yeah, Aliens is amazing.
Everything about that movie was amazing.
Oh, it was great.
Fun fact: Bill Pullman is the only person to be killed by aliens, predators, and the Terminator.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That's right, because he was killed at the beginning. Spoiler alert. He was killed at the beginning of Terminator.
Yeah, you can't really spoil that. It's the first guy that dies in the movie.
Yeah. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen 5 minutes of the movie,
if you haven't seen Terminator,
if you stopped exactly 450 in, you're.
No, I don't think it's even that far in. Well, it might be a little further because the title scene.
Yeah, the title scenes and then the actual introduction. But yeah, I didn't know he was actually. Oh, that's right, because he was one of the detectives in Predator, huh? Predators.
Yeah, in Predator 2. In Predator 2, yes, with Danny Glover, which I also liked that movie, and everybody else hated it. But I thought
love that movie. That was one of my favorites.
I thought it was excellent, dude.
I was okay with number 1, but I thought number 2 was better.
No, number 1 was better.
No, number 2.
Predators was even better than the second.
Okay, so let me put it like this: I love the guys. I thought the guys were great in Predator 1, but I am a huge fan of Danny Glover.
Oh, Billy, the guy that played Billy, the Indian guy, just died recently from the Predator movie.
I was about to say something horrible about him too.
No, the big dude that like.
Oh no, I know.
He just recently passed away. I think I actually posted it on the Facebook page.
Okay, so
Vanishing Gates.
The guy who played him also did some sketchy movies.
Don't care. Don't want to know.
And there's a scene where
he cuts the limb. He needed the money.
There's a scene where he cuts the limb of the tree and drinks. I was watching my. Okay, so if you guys don't watch YouTube critics, you should find a guy named Decker Shadow. He's awesome, and he actually makes a joke about that. The fact that he did some sketchy movies, and then he's like, but you probably can't tell in this movie that he shows him cutting the limb and stuff.
You want to talk about a sketchy movie? Talk about Zardoz and Sean Connery.
I'm talking about X-rated movies, my friend.
Okay, it's not quite that sketchy. It's pretty close, though. So if you ever want to see Sean Connery in a mankini, Zardoz.
What's that movie with
the penis is evil, the gun is good because it kills the penis and kills the seed. Yeah, Zardoz.
Well, I think it didn't the worst movie because they won the Razzies, right? But I think I don't think they lost. I don't think they won the Razzies. It was actually the movie about.
Dude, Rick and Morty did a Zardoz joke on one of their episodes.
Oh my gosh.
And
I'm
nobody
thinking
was
of
watching the
Zardoz.
show with
I'm
Gun
thinking
the
of
Joe.
Xanadu. I'm thinking of Xanadu.
What?
I was wrong movie.
Very wrong movie.
I
Wrong
think you were
movie
talking about
indeed.
two different things there.
Yeah, you are.
I'm thinking about some of the worst
giant
movies.
floating head and like the sci-fi movie. So it's still under the spectrum of what we talk about here, fella.
I was thinking of like because I was watching a review of or someone was he was reviewing the movie about when what was it the dudes who sung YMCA, I can't remember what they're
the Village
People. They made a movie about them with God, who was the dude? I can't remember who the lead actor was. It was freaking hilarious. I'm sitting there watching this review like this was a movie.
What does this have to do with aliens?
I was just segueing into the fact that it was like because I thought you were talking about Xanadu, and I was talking about how that this movie got something called the Razzies, which is like the worst movies ever made.
I mean, cool, but
I was just segueing into the fact that the Razzies actually exist, which like gives titles to whoever makes the worst movie. It's great.
So, speaking of the worst horror movies ever made, we've mentioned in the earlier episode Manos, The Hands of Fate.
Manos, The Hands of One Who Cannot Live Anymore.
The Hands of Fate. Made mostly famous by the great Mystery Science Theater 3000, which I am a huge fan of. And there's like 300 or 400 episodes of Mystery Science. And they just rebooted the series.
Oh, yeah.
They did a crowdfund for that. They reached more than their goal in the first hour.
That's sad. I totally don't like Patton Oswalt, so I don't watch it.
You be quiet. You know who else is in it? The gal from the Guild.
Oh, I know.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember.
Felicia Day. She's awesome.
Okay, that one. So Manos, The Hands of Fate, when you buy the Mystery Science Theater version of it to watch them make fun of it, on the DVD, there's actually the real version of the movie. And I've actually sat through and watched this movie not once, not twice.
Now, we
three
have
or
to
four times.
We have to do a PSA here. Don't watch it without the MST3K guys.
Oh,
Even
no.
with them, it's tough.
If you do, you will be part of a very, very exclusive group, including myself, and not many others.
We take no responsibility for the harm you may cause to people, yourself, or your soul in watching this movie.
My name is Porgo. I watch over the show while Paco is away. If you guys watch the show, you'll get it.
Oh, God.
Basically, the movie is an evil Frank Zappa Satanist. It's not really Frank Zappa. And this family end up getting lost and end up in this weird satanic ritual situation. And there's a Doberman pinscher and a guy with, you can't really tell if he's supposed to have goat legs. There's really bad padding in his quads. But just trust me, it's amazing. It's really good.
No, it's not. It's not. I was like 7, I think, when we watched that one, and I was like so like I just wanted my life to stop.
I mean,
I'm not because I don't think
it's pretty harsh for a 7-year-old. Can I just be a skeleton now?
I'm not saying like because I don't mock suicide. I don't make fun of it. I don't talk about it because suicide's not funny. It's not a joke. But legitimately, when I was 7, I wanted my life to stop because this movie was so bad. I was just like.
And you watched it with Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like life anymore. This is no. Mm-mm. Like I'm like a kid. Like, oh my God, no more, please. Thank God, no. I was hoping a car would come out of somewhere.
All right, so they're making another Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis. So Halloween 897.
Halloween 1230.
Do you remember Halloween Water?
Oh God, H2O.
I love that movie. I actually really liked that one. That was the best Halloween since the third Halloween.
That's not even a Halloween technically.
It is,
He's
but
not even in the movie.
No, it's not. But it was
a good movie by itself. It was outside of Halloween.
It was filmed locally.
Okay, I'm gonna say this right now. I've seen it, and it was a good movie outside of the Halloween. If it had been named something else,
the whole point was it didn't need to be Michael Myers because based on Halloween. The day they tried to go in a different direction. You know what my favorite Halloween movie is of more modern era? Trick or Treat.
I've never seen it. Mm-mm.
What?
I don't watch horror movies generally.
Was Sam with the big head?
I don't generally watch horror movies.
Okay, so it's basically like a Tales from the Crypt style. So it's a bunch of movies like vignettes meshed together.
I might watch
and it's actually really good. So guys, if you get a chance, that's on Netflix as well, and it's really worth the watch. It's called Trick or Treat, and it's really cool. And I want to say not Stacy Keach. Who is the guy that's in it? The guy that was the boss in Super Troopers is in it. In one scene.
I'm not sure.
I can't remember his name.
What movie? Trick or Treat?
Trick or Treat.
Yeah, I did.
It's really good. And it's funny, and you'll get a kick out of it, and it's not what you expect, and it ends on a good note.
Club Dread was awesome. That's the one.
Club Dread. Broken Lizard, Club Dread.
Broken Lizard is awesome.
And we left out that wonderful slasher.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, one of the greatest movies. I actually watched that in the mortuary on a date once.
I used to watch Club Dread like religiously. I love that movie so much.
I actually watched Shaun of the Dead on a date at the mortuary.
I know. I remember you
on Halloween.
No,
I didn't say what the movie was. I don't think when we talked about it when Billy was here talking about the mortuary stories. But that was the movie we were watching when all the weird things started to happen.
Shaun of the Dead was awesome.
Shaun of the Dead is one of the best films ever made by men.
Yeah.
My favorite zombie movie, though, the one I think is the most realistic-ish, is going to be The Crazies. Timothy Olyphant, like that movie's awesome.
Never seen it.
You've never seen it? You need to catch up. Have you even watched Sharknado yet?
Yes.
Okay, good, because that's also a great movie.
I've seen 1 through 4, I think it is.
I only watched the first one.
I think it's all 5 last.
I couldn't commit past the
5.
first one.
I think it was 5. I'm not sure.
How about your favorite like older campy horror movie?
Oh wow.
Silent Night, Deadly Night, maybe. Jack Frost, that was a good one.
Thanksgiving.
The Hills Have Eyes. Thanksgiving. If you ever want to see a turkey have sex with a person, watch Thanksgiving.
And I don't know why you would want that. That's...
Oh, do you remember? Okay, so
I'm trying to think. Hold on. You killed me here.
Do you remember who's the dude that did the Hobbit series, the Lord of the Rings trilogy? Was it Michael? No. The director, is it Michael Bay? No, it was the guy, the Australian guy or the New Zealand guy. I can't remember his name. How do I not remember his name? Anyway, he did this film back in the day that what was it called? No, not the Evil Dead, the Undead or the Living Dead or something. And it was about a monkey that bites this guy's mom, and she turns into this weird zombie rat creature thing.
Oh, rats!
It wasn't called Rats.
I think it was rats, wasn't it?
No, it was not called Rats because it was about a rat monkey. Basically, the story was the people landed and they brought rats off the ship, and the rats bred with the monkeys, and they created this zombie. He made some really good films back in the day before he started doing Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Peter Jackson. And then he made that completely unwatchable 4.5-hour long King Kong movie, which was just despicable and not as bad. I want to say almost as bad as the movie Kong that just came out, which you guys have heard me criticize prior, which was at least a half an hour longer than it needed to be and totally unimaginable.
There is one. Okay, so I'll go back to one movie, like, because I said into like psychological horrors. There was one I liked, and it was Identity. I think it was called Identity. It's the one with oh God, what's that? It's where they were all stranded in a motel. And
yeah. No, I know that one.
There was a killer, and the whole time I was like, I figured it out. Like,
spoilers.
I'm not going to spoil it because if you haven't seen it, because this one's actually good.
What about Frailty? Remember that one?
Go watch it. Frailty?
Yeah.
Which one's that?
You know, with the hammer, Lucille. I think it was the name of the hammer.
I never.
The guy was killing people that were possessed by demons.
Oh yeah. That was okay.
That wasn't Bill Paxton, was it? No, that was might have been Bill Pullman. Can't remember. So guys in chat, if you have any movies you'd like us to talk about, or if you have some favorites, let us know, because we're just sitting here wasting time. Because we have time to do that now, apparently.
I probably don't.
Because we heart our Vanishing Gates viewers so much.
So I'm trying to think of my favorite old school horror movies, like old schlock and stuff like that. It's so tough. I'd have to say The Geek.
What?
The Geek.
How have I not? I don't know what that is.
It's a Bigfoot porno. I told him I was going to mention it. I was going to review it for one of our shows just to mess with him. I don't like it.
So I actually sat through Porn of the Dead. Oh, actually, I sat through about 2 scenes of Porn of the Dead.
Why would you do this?
Because a friend of mine goes, "Hey man," and sends me the link to the video. Goes, "You're really going to like this. It's heavy metal and zombies."
Oh, God.
I've never seen so many wieners cut off in my life.
What was that one where the girlfriend and the boyfriend, like, he was a mortician or she was or something like that, and they would like bring the bodies home with them? It was this weird movie. I can't remember what it was called.
Bodies home with them.
Yeah, they do things with bodies. I can't remember. It's not. I don't think it was a porno though.
You were watching the wrong kind of pornography, fella.
I used to watch. I used to watch a guy called the Cinema Snob, and he reviewed a lot of like videos, and he would report, like, he would do all sorts of videos, and his primary thing was old school like horror thing, like porn and stuff like that. And he was hilarious, and so I would watch him.
You were a twisted man.
You gotta.
Okay, so if you want to, okay, I'm gonna disclaimer here. I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it the way you'd think. There's actually a porno movie out. It's a slasher porno, and it's actually well scripted for what it is.
Why are we going down this road?
Because I was really inebriated this night, and I thought I would watch it. It's called The Camp Cuddle Pines Power Tool Massacre.
Oh my God, there was a movie called what was it?
And you guys just go watch it
Hold on,
if
I'm
you
trying
like
to
that
remember.
kind of thing.
I'm trying to remember one. It was
Not if you're kids, 21 and over only kids.
there are just so many like bad movies. People used to like get. Okay, so there are some movies like back in the day before like DVD and stuff like that. They could be like VHS, and you could actually like I don't know how they did it, but you could sell your VHS home video that you made and get it on shelves in like stores and like in not stores but like rental places and like local rental places, I guess.
This
And
sounds like
people
a
used to
creepy
like
pasta.
no, like people used to make their own videos. So there's things like there's one called was it the Wood Chipper Massacre, and it's literally like it's not what you think it is. It's like somebody like accidentally kills someone and then they throw them in a wood chipper. And then they accidentally kill or they kill another person for some reason and throw them in a wood chipper.
This sounds like cinematic.
It's not really a
amazement.
massacre.
It sounds like a work of real art.
It's really freaking slow, and it was
Speaking
really
of wood chippers, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. If you want
I
the
saw
lighter
that!
side, that's one of the freaking funniest things. It's
That
not
was
technically a
hilarious.
horror movie, but it is a horror movie.
I think
at the
the
same
worst
time.
horror movie I've ever seen was Cabin Fever.
Oh,
I hated that movie.
I'm not going to say why
Hated
you
it.
should watch that, but there's a joke that you have to wait the entire movie for to get the punchline.
Oh yeah, that's it.
You have to sit through the entire, and it's the only thing worth saving in that movie.
It was terrible.
The movie itself is garbage. It has Ryder Strong in it, the guy from, he was Sean from Boy Meets World. He was the best friend.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Sean, because Eric was the brother of Corey. And
No.
so,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
and yeah, he's in it, and it's just garbage. It's absolute garbage, but it's worth watching for one joke. But the joke starts at the beginning of the movie, and you really don't get the punchline until the very end. And I'm not going to say it because there's no way we won't get flagged if we say what the punchline of this joke is. So go ahead and sit through Cabin Fever and
Don't
let me
sit
know if
through
you catch the joke.
It's stupid.
Or fast forward till the end. Watch the
You know
beginning.
what I liked was
and
Anaconda.
Fast forward to the end. Anaconda with James Caan. Was it?
I
No,
think-
not James Caan.
I
It
can't
was
remember.
Angelina Jolie's dad, right? Was the guy
Yeah.
that was in
Yeah.
it?
I believe it was.
Okay, can't remember his name.
It was
Great.
actually a
that was
good
a
one.
good movie.
I liked
Yeah,
it.
that was decent.
People
for-
didn't like it. And I was like, why not? It's a decent movie.
Didn't it have Jennifer Lopez?
I think it had Jennifer Lopez and LL Cool J in it, if I remember correctly.
LL Cool J was in Deep Blue Sea,
I know he was, but I thought he was on this one too.
which was awesome. Another great movie, by
I
the
could
way.
have sworn he was in
Now,
this one.
to me, the best horror movie ever made
Maybe it
because
was
it's actually
Aliens.
prescient and kind of frightening is Jaws. It was actually based on a true story.
Yeah, that one.
Now, it was based on a story, it was loosely based because it was based on what happened in, I want to say the 1800s. A bull shark actually swam up a river. So, for those of you who don't know, bull sharks can actually live in brackish to fresh water and survive and hunt. And what happened was this boy was dragged down by a bull shark
I'm not going swimming
and
anymore.
killed in a river. And fishermen went to catch the shark, and it dragged their boat down. All sorts. But that was the story behind what inspired Jaws, which is I think Peter Benchley that wrote
Fuck
Jaws. There's a movie coming out called Meg. I've been looking forward to because I read the book a long time ago, and that's a great book. Meg. It's about a megalodon. Meg.
Oh,
Megalodon.
okay.
And they're making a movie about it. And I really hope it doesn't suck because Jason Statham is in it, and I would really hate to hate a movie about a book I love that has a guy that I really like as an actor in it. Because that's like the worst thing that can happen. Like that's kind of the reason I'm kind of leery about The Dark Tower. I really enjoy Aldous Elba.
Oh my god. Idris
Whatever.
Idris Elba.
The guy.
Amazing actor.
Luther.
Amazing actor.
Yeah.
I don't like the choice of Matthew McConaughey per se. I think he can play the part.
I don't know. He did pretty good bad guy in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
True.
He did a crazy inbred redneck guy pretty
Fun
well.
fact, that was also based on a true story.
Ish. It was a compilation of stories. Like Ed Gein was a little bit in there, and then there was a guy that actually supposedly chainsawed people to death, but there's no real direct storyline that was based off.
Oh.
It's based off a few different stories.
Well, then not fun fact.
So,
False fact.
and how about Poltergeist? That's always a good one.
That was good.
That cost
I never saw the other ones. No, not for me.
Did we do a show on The Exorcist? I think we kind of touched base.
Yeah,
on
we
things
touched
about
base
it.
on the Exorcist a little
And
bit.
that was based on a true story as well.
Freakiest
but
scene was
in a
the
different way.
stairs.
The crab walk down the stairs.
No, thank you.
Oh man.
Yes, sir.
What was that? The House on Haunted Hill that did the
Oh yeah, that creepy twitchy
creepy
crap.
Twitch walk thing.
I hate that stuff.
The remake of the House on Haunted Hill, or is that the Haunting Hill House they remade? House on Haunted Hill.
House on Haunted Hill was the remake.
Because that was an old, I think Vincent Price movie.
Haunting of Hill House was the first one. House on Haunted
Yeah.
Hill was the remake.
And then there was it Hell House?
Uh-huh.
Was an older one. That would be worth. So guys, older movies to watch. How about Phantasm?
Ooh, I never saw Phantom.
Oh, dude, the tall man was freaky as all get out, and those little orb ball things with the dwarf brains in them. Yeah, yeah. And Angus, the guy that played.
What about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and how that was actually secretly a horror?
I've heard that fan fiction. I've heard.
Oh my god, have you ever watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? It's a horror movie.
It does seem like that Willy Wonka's kind of a serial killer.
I still love the fact that nobody knew the tunnel scene that went up. Nobody knew what was going to happen. They didn't know. They didn't know that. Oh God, what's his name? Willy Wonka's name.
Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder. They didn't know he was going to be in the movie. For when filming started, he rolled out. That was the first time they knew it was going to be Gene Wilder. The first time they saw him. And then when the tunnel scene happens, nobody knew it was going to happen.
So
nobody knew what took place.
You actually buy into the fan theory that Willy Wonka was a serial killer.
I don't buy into that, but I know that those things happen, so I just think it's hilarious.
It was a fairly compelling argument that I read.
Come on, everybody dies.
No, not everybody. Charlie doesn't.
The parents don't die.
No. Technically, no one dies. You can't prove anybody died. That's the whole point. That was the whole point of the fan theory, is that you can't prove that anyone actually died.
But they did. And he's a serial killer. How do you think he makes his chocolate so fluffy and delicious and different from everyone else's? Check those missing kids reports in that area next time, Charlie.
Oh my gosh. What's wrong with you? Next thing you're going to get Willy Wonka registered on Megan's Law. Sicko.
What does that have to do with that?
I don't know.
He's just hunting and killing people. That's all I'm saying.
Children. He's a child killer. According to you.
What?
You turned Raoul Dahl into a monster. I mean, actually, the stuff he wrote was kind of morbid. Yeah. Except for SEO Trot. That was a heartwarming little story.
I still love the fact that people like... Okay, let's go back. Okay. I still think the greatest Jaws was Jaws, like, 6 or something like that. No. Not the Revenge of Jaws. It was like...
That was 3, I think.
I can't remember what it was called, but he was, like, hunting the family.
Was Mario... No, that was the second one, or the third one.
No, he was like hunting the family.
Was it Mario Van Peebles or Casper Van Dien or something was in it?
I don't remember.
I don't know. I stopped paying attention to those. It was Showtime original Jaws.
There was an English dude in it. I can't remember what his name is. He's a famous English actor, and he was a pilot, and he took them to like Catalina or something. Took them like far away, and Jaws supposedly swam across the ocean and hunted down each of the family members.
Do you remember Night of the Lupus about the giant killer bunnies?
Oh God, no, I don't.
Oh man, you need to go watch Night of the Lupus. So, do you remember Billy Bob Thornton?
You know what was good? Donnie Darko.
No, that wasn't good.
I like. So,
do you remember Billy Bob Thornton? Not Billy Bob Thornton. Good God. The Trailer Park of Terror guy.
Does anyone else like Donnie Darko other than me?
Donnie Darko.
He says he doesn't. I thought
if you like Donnie Darko, you're a pretentious douchebag.
I thought it was a good movie.
It wasn't a good movie. It was a terrible movie, and they turned Patrick Swayze into a pedophile.
It was a good movie.
You just like Jake Gyllenhaal. You think he's pretty and soft on the eyes.
Is that Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yes.
I thought it was a good movie.
See, now you're questioning, was it really Jake Gyllenhaal? I don't think I like that movie anymore. Because it's pretentious.
It's not pretentious.
It is pretentious. It was just it made no real sense.
It was an interesting movie.
No, it was stupid. Hella stupid. Super duper thumbs down.
You suck. That was a good movie.
Okay, the same people that like Donnie Darko hate good movies. That's just it. I don't even have to name any good movies. You hate them.
Crawl.
I love Crawl. What do you think is Crawl?
I don't have anything against Crawl.
It's gorgeous. It's like Princess Bride.
It was a good movie.
And
Princess Bride, greatest movie of all time.
Why are we talking about this movie about violence in horror movies? In sci-fi movies.
True. I'm just trying to say that Princess Bride's the greatest movie.
Okay, so you know what really broke my heart recently was Prometheus. Talking about sitting and waiting for a movie to come out for decades to have absolutely no resolution.
I'm thinking about the newest one.
To what they were talking about. No, I want to see the movie. I don't know though. I have a hard time. I haven't seen it yet, but I have a hard time with Danny McBride in a serious role.
Okay, so my issue with Prometheus was
I thought
it was a decent movie.
Cinematically beautiful.
Yes, it looked great. I think the actors were good.
It was 25 hours long.
I thought the fact that they basically spit on the space travelers was annoying because they're like, oh, it's just guys in suits.
The engineers.
Why? Why were
they did why weren't they that
Alien
cool
movie?
If you watch the director's cut of Alien, you can see the engineer suit is actually a suit. It's a piloting suit.
Really?
Yes. You have to watch the director's cut. This is why you buy the anniversary editions on Blu-ray.
Did you know someone destroyed that altar?
Yes.
Someone actually somebody was I don't remember what the reason for. They thought it was like satanic or something like that, and someone ran up that worked there or something and like destroyed
No,
the
I didn't
suit.
know that story.
They
I know
destroyed the
someone screwed.
original.
I thought like maybe a grip or something dropped something on it or something.
No, someone was like
a grip would drop something.
according to what I've heard.
Why do we need to know who a grip is?
Someone went crazy, and essentially they thought it was like satanic or whatever. And they destroyed the original alien thing where the engineer was sitting.
Okay, so
they destroyed it.
You remember Salem's Lot?
Yeah.
Okay, that was filmed locally.
Yeah.
So same place Outbreak was filmed in Ferndale.
And it's the same place the
Halloween 3 was filmed. No, Majestic was filmed here in Ferndale.
Yeah.
Right. Well, like Return of the Jedi was filmed north of here, not too far, where the dinosaur park is. Ooh, haven't been there in a while. Let me go back there. But yeah, so where we live, it's a lot of redwoods. So people film a lot of great movies out here. They use the place. That really bad movie with Will Smith and his son in it was filmed here. The Shyamalan movie. Actually, that's how I met M. Night Shyamalan. He was at the bar. I was working security at a bar, and he showed up with his crew to hang out there. He's actually M. Night Shyamalan, by the way, is a really polite person.
He's a good writer. His stories aren't bad.
I
think he has a poor choice of actors.
It was funny because I ran into him in the bathroom, and I said, "Hey man, I just want to let you know, I really liked Devil. I thought that was your best work."
I hated Devil.
He got this really weird look on his face, like, "Oh, someone liked my movie. Okay." Like he was super embarrassed that I liked Devil.
Maybe because he was peeing or something.
No, he just washed his hands. It was just one of those I walked in as he was walking out kind of thing.
Oh.
And I was like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, I really liked Devil. It was a really good movie." And it was a compliment because, I mean, the only other movie that I really liked that he did was Signs.
I liked Signs, and
The Sixth Sense was okay.
It's good.
Everybody was shocked at the ending, and I was like, I saw it.
Have you seen his most recent movie? The oh god, what was it, like Snapped or Break or some crap where the dude's got like Split. Have you seen it?
It's part of the series with Unbreakable, and the next one they're doing Glass.
Yeah,
it's the second movie.
It's interesting that people like. I was sitting there. I was like, I wasn't gonna watch it, but now I might watch it because it's like at the end. It's spoiler freaking alert. If you haven't seen Split and you plan on seeing it and you're really interested in it, well then I don't want to explain to you.
Well then don't. Just say it's a good movie.
It's supposed to be a good movie.
You haven't seen it. You can't spoil something you haven't seen. You don't really know what's happening.
I was reading a spoiler. That's all.
Oh, you read a spoiler.
I read a spoiler. I was watching a review of it and the guy spoiled it.
Did I tell you about that jackass that spoiled freaking Star Wars for me?
Someone spoiled Star Wars?
Yeah. Oh yeah. On my Facebook page, I made a comment. Oh yeah, gonna go see The Force Awakens. Guess what he says?
Oh.
I can't say it because people might not have seen it.
Oh.
Yeah, he tells me about what happens on the bridge.
Oh, okay, I get you.
I was actually very upset because the first movie I ever saw, I think I was 2 years old. My dad took me to see Return of the Jedi in the theater. First movie I ever saw.
Not a bad one to see.
No. And so I've gone to see every Star Wars in the theaters since then in my life. Every time they've come out, the reissues, I've gone to see.
I thought Rogue One sucked. So
I loved Rogue One, and you can shut up
that sucked.
with that horrible negativity. I don't need that in my life.
They're gonna have a great romance.
Oh no! You had to know they were all gonna die.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Sorry, guys. Everyone dies. But you know who doesn't die?
Who doesn't die?
Not a Star Wars fan, are you? I'm not gonna give it to you. I'm not gonna give it to you.
Oh no! I want to know who doesn't.
No, I'm not gonna give it to you. You're not a Star Wars fan.
I know everybody who doesn't die. It made no sense. No sense.
We'll talk about it later. When you're in a safe zone.
No sense. None.
Anyway, so After Hours at Vanishing Gates, and we're talking about horror movies, sci-fi movies,
to Star Wars,
and Star Wars. Well, sci-fi.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like the main sci-fi movie.
I just thought it'd be fun. What the heck?
Of our life. Yeah, we're just giving you guys a little extra here because we like to do that.
After Hours isn't about all the paranormal stuff.
Oh, speaking of local movies, I'm trying to get Bobcat Goldthwait on.
He's not gonna come on the show.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
I liked him.
They killed Mickey.
I liked him in that
Bobcat.
summer movie. It was the one with the boats. American Summer.
I'm gonna disown you soon. Anyway, so the reason I mentioned this is because Bobcat actually did the movie Willow Creek.
I never saw it.
It's a found footage film, I think. I didn't watch it.
God, Cloverfield's terrible, by the way.
Yeah, no, Cloverfield's bad.
I hate found
footage.
I hate found footage
Patently
movies.
bad. Did you watch 10 Cloverfield Lane?
No.
with John Goodman.
Already seen enough of those found footage crap.
It's not found footage. It's not found footage. It's
Thank God.
It's an actual film, and I haven't seen it. I have a really hard time wrapping
Look,
my head around John Goodman just killing people.
I am a big
Or being
fan. I was raised on Roseanne. Love John Goodman. One of the best actors ever. Love the guy. He was the only reason I continued. For me, but he is the only reason I continued watching that last Transformers, like Primal or whatever it was.
He was in that?
Yeah, he was the big dude with all the guns.
No, I didn't see.
And that's the only reason I stayed to
I haven't
watch
watched
the movie.
Transformers since Shia LaBeouf ruined it for me. So
the first one.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
But John Goodman is a great actor, and I still will not watch that movie because I do not like the series. And I do not like what they did with him as a character.
I feel like they did a great job. But speaking, so
hold on. It got spoiled for me. I was next door to our neighbors, and he's like, "Have you seen this movie?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Don't see it." I'm like, "Okay."
Well, it's more of a warning than a spoiler.
And so he sat there. No, he sat there. He's like, "Want me to tell you about it?" I'm like, "Sure, tell me about it." And so he literally told me the entire movie, like everything that happened. And I'm just like, I'm not going to go see that movie.
So I want to go see it, but it's kind of pointless because I already know what happens.
Everybody dies in the end.
No, that's not what happens. The one thing I'll say is I did hear, if you've read the book, they changed the last scene in the first act of the book, because it's a two-part movie. They took out, from what I've heard, the last.
Well, it's a little controversial.
A little controversial is a different way to say.
A little disgusting.
Most people would probably be investigated for writing the scene.
Yeah, I would have investigated.
So we're not going to go into details, but just I mean,
it was creepy.
The
killer clown. The clown was not as creepy as that scene.
That scene was creepier than the entire book.
Yeah. I read Desperation and the Regulators, and they're not as creepy as that scene.
I didn't think they were creepy at all.
Just not creepy.
They didn't even stick. I don't remember what they're about even. Did you ever read any Clive Barker stuff?
No.
Weaveworld of Magica?
No.
If you have 25 years to read a book, excellent books, but really hard to get through. Clive Barker writes some excellent stuff. And he is a really creepy dude.
I gotta get going. I gotta get going.
What do you mean you gotta get going?
I gotta get going.
We're talking about horror movies now.
I know, but I have to go. I told you I'd be here for 30 minutes.
Well, you've been here for over an hour.
Exactly. You got more.
Hey, our viewers got over 2 hours of content from us tonight.
I know.
That's love. That's the only kind of love you're going to get from Vanishing Gates.
That's right.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching a little after-hours spiel. We'll do these more probably because it's fun, just BSing about this stuff. If you guys have movies you want to suggest us to watch, or games to play, or books to read that are horror-based or whatever, just shoot us an email at vanishinggates@gmail.com, or make a comment.
2Gs.
Check out our YouTube page again. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Turn on those notifications. That way you guys see when we go live. We are really looking forward to the 7th of October. We'll be live at the first annual Halloween Pop-Up Boutique.
I still have no idea what I'm going to do with my outfit or my costume. No idea.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Hamburglar. All right, guys. I'm Jay for Paco, and this is
Jack.
We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.